Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Now in today's episode, we're going to be diving in to a viewer donation, and this is one that I'm really excited about. I mean, I'm excited about anything that shows up at my PO box, but this package right here comes to me all the way from Australia, the land down under. It's made its maiden voyage over here to the United States, and yeah, I'm really excited to open this thing up and dive into what's inside. I got to give a huge thank you to LexiconFox over on Twitter for reaching out to me and offering to send out an HP Mini 2140 netbook that currently runs Windows XP and a bunch of other software that I thought would be pretty cool to open it up, check out what's inside, and yeah, I just always love doing these unboxing videos. So huge thanks to LexiconFox for your very generous donation, and without any further ado, let's go ahead and open this package up and see what we've got inside. Alright, so we've got all of the software laid out on the table here, and we're going to go through each item individually before we get to the netbook itself, which I've got off screen right now. That is going to be the main topic of today's video, but I do want to go through each of these items first, just very briefly here. So first up, we've got something that's not software by itself, but it does relate to it, and these are very useful. We've got a couple CD/DVD sleeves. I've got a dedicated space for these in my software bin, and these will be added to it. These definitely come in handy, so we'll set those aside. Next up, we've got a couple of Windows versions. So over here on the far left, we've got an OEM copy of Windows 98 2nd Edition. So there's the more holographic CD right here. I have a copy of Windows 95 2nd Edition OEM that is on a more standard looking CD, like this Plus CD, for example, right here. So this is cool to have one of these. We also have the Windows 98 Start Here CD-ROM. So I actually don't have a copy of this, so that's pretty neat. And we have the Getting Started Guide for Windows 98 2nd Edition. And yeah, so it's just nice to complete this package here. So we'll set all of this aside. Yeah, Windows 98. We also have Windows NT 4.0. Now, this is something that I do not have a physical copy of, at least until now. So we have the registration card, which the registration cards from this time were more generalized, more standardized. They weren't really specific for an individual product or an individual set of products. This card could be used for essentially any Microsoft product from this time, or at least most of them, and it could be sent to any region, because what you would do is you would open it up here. You can see that Microsoft did not pay for your postage, and they did not even write their address here, so you had to do both of those things. Earlier iterations of the registration card came with prepaid postage, and they already had Microsoft's address filled in, but the reason why it's not filled in is because you had to choose the Microsoft office that corresponded to your region. So you would pick whatever region that you were in. So for North America, USA, you'd write this address in, and then you would affix your postage. And on the card itself, you would choose the product you purchased, and then you would write in the version number. So yeah, they required a lot more work on the user's part for these later versions of the registration card, but it made it easier on their end. But yeah, I just find it funny how they just stopped including postage at this point. But yeah, anyways, we'll set the registration card aside. We have the end user license agreement for Windows NT Workstation. We have the disk itself, and we have the Start Here booklet. And this was for distribution. This was an OEM copy, as you can see right here. We also have some Windows XP related stuff. Now, I do have a retail copy of Windows XP Home Edition complete in box. What I don't have is a retail copy of Windows XP Professional. Now, this isn't the entire set because the box is not here, but this is still really cool because this is the actual software. We also have an OEM copy of Windows XP SP1 from Dell. I actually have, I think, this exact same CD, but hey, you can never get enough copies of Windows XP, am I right? And we also have an OEM copy of Windows XP Home, a more standard copy that isn't really specific for any OEM, like this Dell CD right here. Next up, we got a couple of floppy diskettes. Right here on top, we have a Windows 98 2nd Edition boot disk, so I'll just put this over here with the Windows 98 stuff. We have a blank floppy diskette, kind of mysterious, and we have a copy of Microsoft DOS 6 the upgrade version right here, the 3 diskette upgrade version. So I will set this aside as well. We'll just store all of this over here for now. We have an OEM copy of Microsoft Plus Digital Media Edition. This is actually really neat because I didn't know that Plus DME came pre-installed with OEM machines, but evidently they did, because this says right up here, for distribution with a new PC only. I have a retail copy of this, but it's neat to have the OEM copy as well, so we'll set that aside. We also have Microsoft Encarta Encyclopedia 2004, and we have a copy of Microsoft Works. This is version 7.0. And we have a copy of Microsoft MapPoint 2000, a 60-day trial copy, that is. So we'll set all of these up here. Actually, I'll just gather these together. And now we're getting into the non-Microsoft stuff. Well, actually not exactly, because right here we have a copy of the Microsoft Official Curriculum Sampler for Microsoft Windows 2000. I don't have a copy of this, so that's pretty neat. And here we have a set of HP Pavilion recovery CDs. Right here we have a copy of Cheyenne Bitware for Windows with the little combo manual here. And last but not least, well, we got 2 more things. First up, we have a copy of SurfMonkey Kid-Friendly Internet. This is kind of a parental controls type software for Windows. It actually includes Surfwatch, which we took a look at in my Microsoft Plus for Kids video. So yeah, there you go. And finally, we have a LearnKey demo disc right here. So LearnKey, if you're not aware, these guys were a Microsoft certified solutions provider, and this logo design may look familiar to the logo on this CD right here for the Microsoft curriculum, and that is by design, because these guys would create interactive tutorials to teach you how to use various Microsoft programs. This is not one of those discs though. This is more of a demo disc that just essentially teaches you how to use the actual tutorial discs. So if we open this up here, it kind of tells you a little bit about it, at least the different areas of it: training session, challenge session. It has installation and uninstallation instructions, and right here is the CD-ROM itself, and these are the list of programs that they have interactive tutorial discs for. So yeah, very, very neat stuff. I don't have a copy of this, but who knows, maybe this will make its way into a future video. Maybe all this stuff will make its way into a future video. But for now, let's go ahead and set all the software aside and move on to the main star of today's video, and that is this power adapter. Well, okay, not really. This is the power adapter for the laptop, or for the netbook rather, I should say. Here is the netbook itself. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out of the bubble wrap here. And yes, the HP Mini 2140, that's what we're taking a look at today. And this is a netbook from the year 2009, and it currently runs, as I said at the beginning of this video, Windows XP, which you might find surprising, but that was actually not uncommon for netbooks because, well, XP was still pretty reliable at that time. A lot of people still used it. And because of the lower hardware requirements for the operating system, it didn't take as much of a toll on the hardware in these netbooks right here. Because netbooks were, if you're not really aware, essentially lower-end laptops. They were designed really for just browsing the web. They didn't have the most cutting-edge specs. This machine came with an Intel Atom processor running at 1.6 gigahertz and 1 gigabyte of RAM on the low end, though you could upgrade that to 2 gigabytes. But you could choose, if you wanted to, you could get this machine pre-installed with Windows Vista Home Basic, Windows Vista Business, even SUSE Linux Enterprise, or FreeDOS. Yeah, that's right, but Windows XP Home Edition was also an option. But before we boot this thing up, let's take a look at the port selection. So on the left side here, we've got a VGA out, we've got a USB, mic and headphone jacks, and on the right side we have a PCMCIA card slot, we have another USB, Ethernet, power, and your Kensington lock. I highly doubt the battery is going to hold a charge in this thing, but we're going to see, so we're going to open it up here. And here is what the interior of it looks like. You have actually a pretty large keyboard. It just goes from edge to edge. The trackpad, though, is very, very tiny, and the buttons are on the left and the right side. This little switch down here is the power switch. And yeah, it is not powering up. Not really a surprise, though. But luckily, LexiconFox included the power adapter, though this is an Australian power adapter. Luckily, though, I've got one of these right here that we can use, and the Australian outlet is on the bottom here, so we're just going to, I mean, it's not just for Australia, but it works with the Australian plug, so we're just going to plug that in there, And we're going to plug this into the wall. Yep, we got a light. That's a good sign. I think it's actually starting up right now. Yep, it is. All right, everybody. So here we are logged into Windows XP. And the first thing I want to do is check the specifications to see if we have 1 or 2 gigs of RAM, because those were the 2 configurable options from the factory. So looks like we've got 2 gigs of RAM here. The Windows XP is showing 1.99, and we of course have that Intel Atom N270 running at 1.6 gigahertz, and the registered to name is Lexicon. So that was already configured by Lexicon for us. We did not have to install or reinstall XP or anything like that, which is great. You know what? The first thing we're going to do is upgrade this machine to Service Pack 3. Why not? Let me go ahead and get this thing on the network. All right, so I went ahead and plugged this machine into my network switch over here in the studio area. So let's see if it's even got that driver installed. Because you can see we have a wireless driver installed for the wireless card that's in here, so we could use that, but I would rather use Ethernet if the driver is already here. So let's go to network and internet connections. Let's just go to, what is it, network connections. And no, we actually don't have that driver installed. Okay, so slight change of plans. Because I cannot connect to a WPA2 secured network, which I kind of anticipated, and I didn't want to change my network's security to WPA, I just decided to copy over the network driver as well as Windows XP Service Pack 3 from my computer. Well, I actually had to download this from HP's FTP server. They still host this driver, which is pretty cool. Now, you might be asking why I even want to do this in the first place. Well, because I do have a network share that I store a ton of updates and service packs for Windows on, and I usually like to use that so I don't have to get out a USB drive and copy stuff over, but it always seems like I have to do that anyway, and in this case I did, so we're just copying XP SP3 over here. But because we've got the network driver here, let's just install it. And this is the gigabit Ethernet controller driver for this machine. At least that's what the website that pointed me to HP's FTP server told me. So let's see if it actually works. There it is. Okay, so that was a simple install. So it's acquiring network address connected. Let's go and run CMD and ping google.com. We're getting a reply. That is beautiful. Okay, so we're on the network. Now let's install XP Service Pack 3. Alright, so there we go. We've got Service Pack 3 installed, and I also went ahead and changed the desktop wallpaper to Wind, just because, you know, it's nice to change things up every once in a while, and that's what I plan on doing with this machine in terms of future videos on this channel. I typically use the Dell Latitude D610, which has become kind of like the 98 PC. It's become really a staple on this channel, and I do a lot of videos featuring it. Basically, anytime I have to do a Windows XP related video, if it's not in a VM, I use that computer. Well, now I've got another Windows XP computer that I can use in videos on this channel, which is awesome because you can never get enough Windows XP, am I right? I mean, the operating system just turned 20 years old yesterday, at least if you're going by the release to manufacturing date, which I was for that video. If you guys haven't seen that, by the way, I unbox and check out this very rare, very unique Japanese exclusive version of Windows XP that was released to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Windows back in 2005. And yeah, I was really lucky to find it from a seller in Japan, and I just took a look at it. We unboxed it in that video and explored what it was all about and what made it so unique. And I do have a much larger video project planned, if everything goes according to plan, for XP's general availability date, or when it was actually made available in retail stores. And that's in October 25th to be specific. But for now, guys, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Be sure to get subscribed down below. Turn on those notifications if you haven't already to get notified whenever I upload a new video, which I do multiple times every single week on this channel. I got to give a huge thank you to LexiconFox for your very generous donations once again, and a huge thank you to all of you guys for watching. As always, I'll see you all in the next video.